Hello everybody and welcome to today's verbaling class. Hope you've all had a good week. My name is Zach and I'm going to be teaching you today about modal verbs for the fourth time. I've done a series on modal verbs and this is probably going to be the last one because after this we will have covered the main modal verbs that you need to know about. So the ones we're doing today are called should and would. They're the main ones, and then we'll also be learning about ought to, or ought, and must at the same time. But these are a little bit easier to understand, so the main topics today are going to be talking about should and would, and when it's appropriate to use both of these modal verbs. So we're just going to wait a couple minutes while premium subscribers come to class, if any of them are going to, and then we'll get started. Hi guys in the chat room, Alice and Ali. Alice, are you going to come and join us today in the lesson? Maybe not. We have someone else. Zainab? Hello, Inga. Inga, can you hear me?
Hi, Zach.
How are you?
I'm not bad, thanks. What about you?
Not bad. Why just not bad?
Because I didn't sleep well this night.
I'm sorry. Was there a particular reason?
Yes, my friend went back to France, so I went to say goodbye and I come back so late.
Well, it was the last time you were going to see her for a long time, so it's probably worth it.
Sorry?
I said it was the last time you were going to see her for a long time.
Yes.
Maybe it was worth staying out late. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then we've got Jose. Hello, Jose. Hello.
Hi, Zach.
How are you?
Fine.
Good.
And you?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, it's not a terrible morning here in London. The weather's been pretty bad. I judge my mood by the weather. If it's good weather, I'm in a good mood. Bad weather.
Are you in London?
Yeah, I'm in London. That's right.
Hi.
Where are you?
From Spain.
Very nice. Whereabouts in Spain?
Today it's sunny.
Oh, that's good. It's always sunny. It's always sunny in Spain then. Where in Spain are you from?
In the center, do you know Toledo?
I have heard of Toledo, yes.
Oh.
Try to think why. It's famous for something other than just being a city?
The historical old city.
Okay, it's historical. Okay.
It's a great old city.
Excellent. Cool, good to know. Okay, and then Alice, is this Alice from the chat?
Hi, yes, it's me, Zach. Hi.
So I bullied you today into joining.
Thank you, I'm here.
Why have you not joined the other weeks? You're too shy?
No, I wanted, but I couldn't. However, I was listening to your recorded lesson today. Oh, it was might, may, can, should,
Yes.
could. Oh.
Yes.
I was so confused finally, but I hope I got it somehow.
It's modal verbs are quite a confusing topic.
Yes, but
other languages do not have them mostly in the same way. You can express the same ideas, but they're not as loose. Like they're quite loose modal verbs. Is the thing.
You can say the same sentence using two different modal verbs, and
Yes.
it means something different.
Yes, but yes, exactly. Or sometimes it means the same.
Yes.
We'll see today. There are examples where it means the same. So what I've tried to do is to create some sheets where, you know, I've obviously been, you know, I've read a lot about modal verbs and so on, and I'm trying to condense it to the most important points. So if you look at the sheets that I've provided, then they should give you a good ground framework. Do you understand the word framework?
Yes, I understand. Yes, they are really great. I read them.
And you will still see exceptions. These sheets do not cover everything. I should have said that before. There are examples that aren't covered on. It's not exhaustive. The word exhaustive means if you've covered everything. Because it's almost impossible. It's very difficult to do this. So you just have to group together the most important usages, and then try to get them in under your skin and use them a lot. And then actually, it's something that happens. Probably you become a true master of modal verbs when you've just spoken a lot of English. So when you've come to Verbline a lot, when you've had conversations, you'll hear other people use it, and then something clicks in your head and it becomes natural, and you start using them naturally, I think.
Yeah,
but
I have.
Yes? Sorry.
No, tell me.
Well, it's not like learning a tense or anything else where there's always perfect rules to follow. You know what I mean? It's not. That's why it's a bit difficult for people to grasp sometimes, because even I get confused sometimes when you're probably in this lesson, someone will say something and I'll be like, is that or is it not? Kind of
Oh.
Which is why it's important to start off with the rules, but understand that they're not always 100%, you know, not that they're not 100% accurate, but there are always going to be things you hadn't thought about or exceptions. Or, you know, it's a funny one. So it's best to just learn the basics, and then you pick up the rest in your practical spoken English with people, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So it looks like there's just 3 of us today, which is good for you guys. For now. So we're going to do. This is probably the last class on modal verbs. I might do one more that just summarizes, you know, everything. I did that at the beginning. My first lesson was like an overview. Then I did might and may. Then I did can and could. The other way around. And today we're doing sort of should, would, a bit of must, and ought to. And there's not much more beyond that. But I might do like a last quiz, with everything, for example, or one more lesson to kind of sum things up. I'm not sure. But otherwise, Inga, you said you wanted to do a lesson on the past tense, right?
Yes.
Okay, and one other thing as well. It wasn't just the past. It was
passive voice.
Passive. That was it. Okay. So they can be related, but they're slightly separate topics. So we'll probably do one after the other. So that, in terms of grammar lessons, this is probably what I'll be doing after that from next week. But let's get into modal verbs now, because we'll run out of time otherwise. Here is the document for this week on a should and would. I'll put it in both chats. Can everyone see them? Hi, Alpha Pilot. You've all got that? Yeah, okay. So I think it sounds like Inga, Jose, yeah, you all have a pretty good level of spoken English. So I'll start reading, and then I'll ask if each of you can read the next section. And just make sure you're pronouncing everything and not speaking too quickly when you're reading, okay? So this is what I've had at the top of all of my sheets, which are probably the 2 most important points about modal verbs, is that they are invariable. So there's always just one form. You don't need to think about adding an S in the third person singular, for example. And then the main verb after them is always the bare infinitive, which means that you take 2 away. So, Jose, what would the bare infinitive be of the word jump? Of the word to jump. I always give away the answer. Jose?
Sorry, Zach.
I say the infinitive to jump. What's the bare infinitive of to jump?
The infinitive of to jump?
The bare infinitive.
I don't know.
The bare infinitive is the infinitive without the word to. It's very simple. Did you understand?
I think no.
You know what the infinitive is, right? The basic form of a verb.
Yeah.
So the bare infinitive. The word bare means naked, without anything else. So the bare infinitive is just the infinitive without the preposition, without to.
Jump.
So if I said, what's the bare infinitive of to jump?
Jump.
Perfect. There we go. So modal verbs are always followed by the bare infinitive. The one exception is ought. Sometimes you say ought to do something. In fact, you have to say ought to do something, but we'll cover that a little bit in this lesson and you'll see. But otherwise, that's it. They're invariable and they always have the bare infinitive. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is should. Should is a weaker form of must. It is used to give advice, to talk about obligations, to talk about probability, and occasionally it can be used, like would, to express the conditional mood. In almost all cases, should have and the past participle can be used to express these meanings in the past. Okay, so already we see there's a few different ways that should can be used, but now we're going to go over them and it should be clearer in about 20 minutes which ways they are. Okay, so Jose, if you could start off reading the first section about duty and obligation.
Yeah. First session from you should try the new restaurant.
No, we're right at the top. We're reading from the top of the document.
Oh, okay. Modal verbs.
The link that I gave you, yes.
The two most important points to remember about modal verbs are.
Yeah, no, Jose. I've just read that section. So we're starting from underneath should usage, duty, obligation.
Should, usage, duty, obligation.
Yes. So that, yeah, start there.
We often use should to talk about times when it is good or important for someone to do something. When one is making a strong suggestion, e.g.
For example,
you should cut your hair, it's looking very long. Women should stay in the kitchen, it's where they belong. This is a joke. I should be at work now.
Okay, excellent. All right, so these are all examples where you're making a strong suggestion to someone. It's almost like saying you have to do something, but it's not quite that level. Okay, so just to put that into practice, let's see, Inga, what are some things you have to do at work using the modal verb should? You can talk about you and your fellow employees, other people you work with, if you want.
Repeat, please.
I'm asking Inga to give me an example using the word.
Mm-hmm.
I should answer to emails as soon as possible.
I should answer emails as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great example. How about Alice? Do you want to give me one?
Yeah, I should finish my work on deadline. Can I say it?
I should finish my work before the deadline, I think.
Before the deadline. Okay.
I think maybe you can say on deadline, but before is probably easier to understand, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. And Jose, do you have one?
Yeah. I should be at work before 8 o'clock.
Okay, very good. I should be at work, yeah. It's like saying I am supposed to. If you are supposed to do something, it means it is expected. It is expected of you. Okay? Excellent. Okay, Inga, could you read the next section on probability and expectation?
Mm-hmm. We also use should when we think something is likely, when we expect it to happen. For example, my sister should have called by now. The sausages should be in the freezer. It should rain tomorrow.
It should rain tomorrow. Okay, so we have 3 different tenses here. And in each case, we're talking about an expectation. Again, this isn't an expectation on somebody else, right? We were just talking about obligation, which is like an expectation on someone else. Here we're just talking about things that we expect to happen. And if we want to do it in the past, in all cases with should, you do should have plus past participle. This is a very common construction for modal verbs. You can say might have, past participle, would have, could have. And it depends. You can't always use it for every example, but with the case of should, in almost all of these meanings, you can say should have, and it will just take the meaning and put it into the past. Okay, so if we want to say that something should have happened in the past, you can say my sister should have, this isn't a great example actually, because it's more like the present, if she should have called by now. My sister should.
No, we don't hear you.
Oh, sorry. As usual. Now?
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, my sister should have taken the car to work. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's wrong as well.
But why?
Why? Sorry, hold on. Should have.
No, I asked about why you highlight sister, not should.
Oh, sorry, that's... Sorry, hold on. Sister should have... yeah. Should have taken the bus. Yeah, probability. Yeah, so if you say my sister should have taken the car, okay, this could actually mean two things. It can mean it's a suggestion, it's something she should have done, or it can mean I am expecting, the probability is she took the car. She should have taken the car. I don't know necessarily if she did, but she should have. Do we all understand that distinction?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I'm talking about. You can often use the same modal verb, but depending on the context, it can mean two different things. Okay? So the may I mean now is, the first example I said she should have called by now. That's actually correct as well. That's in the past, but it was a bit confusing because you're using by now, so that makes it sound like the present. So I picked another example, which is in the past, saying she should have taken the car by now. This could mean, sorry, not by now, she could have taken the car. She should have taken the car. This means probably she took the car, but it could also mean, if I'm telling a story to someone, it means like she was wrong if she didn't. She should have. I'm making a sort of suggestion. We're going to come on to that in a minute. Okay, 1 second. I will correct that mistake later, Inga. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you for some examples. Actually, this is a good exercise. Let's just do this one. Everyone, please click on. Okay, Jose, can you see this? Could you click on the link?
A moment.
Did you click on the link in the chat?
The new link?
Yeah, I just put a link in the chat.
Yeah.
Have you clicked on it?
I have opened it.
Okay, great. Now you see the sentence below? Can you make that into a complete sentence for me?
Build a sentence using my words.
Jose, are you looking at the page that I gave you the link for?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see that there are some words jumbled up?
Yeah. I have to make a sentence with all these words.
With these words, and it's using should to talk about probability or expectation. Okay?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay. Take a moment. Everyone else have a think about it as well.
Ah, okay. Maria should be at home now.
Yes, but you're missing one word.
Yeah. I don't know.
By now.
Word.
By now.
By now.
Yes. Maria should be at home by now. Okay, that's the present. So, yes, exactly. So it's like the last example, if I said she should have called by now, it is the past because it means that like between sometime in the past and now she should have called. Whereas Maria should be at home by now is emphasizing the present aspect of it. Okay, so that's good. Let me do one more. 1 second. Here's one in the past for you. You can click on that. Everyone's now got that one open?
Yes.
Give it a shot.
I think the books should have arrived last week.
Yes, excellent. I can just tell you right now that's right. The books should have arrived last week. It's expectation. It's in the past. They should have arrived. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm on holiday. I don't know if they arrived, but they should have arrived last week. Okay? Does everyone understand this concept of the way to use should to talk about probability? Yes. Ingrid, sort of or completely?
Sort of.
Sort of? Okay, let's do
honest.
That's okay. Let's do a bit more practice. Let me ask someone else. Sam, are you in the class?
Yes.
Sam.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome. Are you following?
Actually, I just joined and I opened the document, but I don't know where are we exactly.
Okay, that's fine. We're at the place where it says probability and expectation on the first page.
Okay.
And we're talking about how to use should. We're talking about how to use should to convey that we are expecting something to happen, or we expect that something did happen, or we expect that something will happen. So if I say it should rain tomorrow, then that's expressing the idea that it's probably going to rain tomorrow, I think. If I say it should have rained is a bad example because I probably know if it had rained or not. If I can say the nightclub should have closed down last week, I don't know. No one told me, but it was supposed to. I was expecting that the nightclub would close last week. Right, so that's expectation in the past, and to do that, you should have and the past participle.
And also, it can be used in the future, I think.
And we can use that's what I said. Yeah, like it should rain tomorrow, or the Yankees should win the World Series, for example. My favorite team should do this in the future, or that we just did an example in the present. Maria should be at home.
Yes.
We expect that she will be at home. We are not sure. That's not the future. If we're saying if you go there now, then probably she's going to be home in the present.
Or maybe, for example, if you need something, you should call me.
No, that's a suggestion.
Yes.
That's not an expectation. If you think about it, if I say to someone, "You should call me," I'm not making a judgment on whether they will call me or not. I'm saying you should, and we're going to come to suggestions in a minute. So we're going to cover that. Do you want to try another example?
It should be in the future.
Yeah, let's do a future one.
Okay. We should.
Maybe not. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I'm sorry. We should meet. We should meet in the checkpoint in a few minutes.
No.
No.
That's another suggestion. You're talking about the future, which is good. So here's an important thing. It's not just enough to say should and then the tense, right? If you say should in the tense, that's not what I'm talking about here. You can do that, but it's being used in a different context. So I'm talking about the word should has to relate directly to what is being expected. Think about this. If you say we should, what did you say? We should do something in a few minutes?
Yes, we should meet in a few minutes, for example.
We should meet. Okay.
Think
about that. Think about that sentence. There's no expectation. Where's the expectation? That's a suggestion. Or you're telling someone something, right? Whereas if I say my team should win the competition, that's definitely not a suggestion. That's just talking about what I'm expecting to happen.
For example, the forecast saying tomorrow should should snow.
Yeah, perfect. So you took the example, it should rain, and then it should rain tomorrow, and then you built on that, which is good. The election should go really smoothly this year, or later in a few months. The marathon that I'm running should be easy because I will have trained so much. You know, it's about what I'm expecting. What I'm saying probably will happen. Inga, your example is not right because you should have prepared better. Again, you're giving someone an instruction or a suggestion.
But if that speech is already done and it's bad, for example, yes, and I said that you should have prepared better.
It's still not probability. You're not talking about the likelihood or the probability of something happening. If you say Maria should have gone home by now, I am not at the office, but I think Maria should have gone home. Then again, I'm saying like I don't know if something's happened, but probably it's happened. That's the mood. That's the meaning that you're trying to convey. If you say you should have prepared better, there is no question of probability of the outcome.
Okay, and can we say he should have read our essay?
Yes, you can say he should have read our essay, but remember, like I was saying to Alice before, it could mean two different things. It could mean if we're talking about, if he came along and said, oh, I didn't read your essay, sorry, I was too tired, and you say you should have read our essay, then you're giving a strong, you know, opinion or a suggestion. I think you should have read our essay. But if he is the teacher and he is in another country on vacation, and I think I don't know if he's marked my paper or not. If he's looked at the essay, he should have read it. It means probably, but I'm not sure. Do you see? There's two different.
Yes. I was talking about last one.
Yeah. Do we all understand that a little bit better? I'm trying to think of other ways to...
May I try one example?
Yeah, please.
Okay. We should arrive to the bus station within 5 minutes.
Absolutely right. Perfect. We should arrive at the bus station within 5 minutes.
At the bus station.
We don't know. Maybe there's a lot of traffic, so we won't. But we should arrive. Yeah. Yes. So you have to always be listening for what the speaker is trying to say, whether they are making a suggestion or whether they are talking about an expectation. And now you know about this extra meaning of should, it will help you because someone might say should and you thought they were making a suggestion. You'd be like, well, that doesn't make sense. But actually, no, they were just talking about the likelihood. Probability and likelihood are two good words to know. It just means the chances, whether something will happen or not. We're not sure. It's hypothetical. A lot of modal verbs are concerned with hypothetical, sort of unreal situations, things that you're not sure if they happened or they're going to happen or they did happen, that kind of thing. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one because we've run out of time. Advice and recommendations. So this is more the examples that you were giving of should, which are probably the more common examples as well. Let me ask someone else to read. Vincenzo, are you in the lesson?
Yes, hello.
Hello. Are you following?
Yeah.
You are?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, could you read the next section to us then on advice and recommendations?
Could you put the link, please?
The link, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Inga. Faster than I am.
Okay.
I'm very shy about touching my keyboard now because it always mutes me.
Okay. Modal verbs in depth. The two most important.
No. We're reading at the bottom of the first page now. We're coming to advice and recommendations.
Okay, just a second. Advice and recommendation. I'm sorry.
Just at the bottom of the first page.
Advice and recommendation. Okay. We can use should to give advice or share recommendation. In this usage, should is a weaker form of must.
For example.
For example, you should try the new restaurant that just opened up around the corner. You should have seen the look on his face. It can also be used to her to ask for advice or even make a suggestion. For example, should I go to work tomorrow or take the day off? Should we go and see that new film everyone's talking about? In all of these cases, it can be used interchangeably, yeah, with the modal verb ought, which is always followed by to. Ought is used more rarely than should, however.
Okay, very good. So this was the usage that most of us were talking about a moment ago. It's used to give advice or recommendations to people. Okay, and you can also make a suggestion using it. You know, like you're asking if we should we do this? Should we go out? Should I, you know, cook something for dinner tonight? Would you like that? That kind of thing. So just very quickly, what I'm going to do is pick two of you. I want one of you to say a problem. It can be any problem. It can be my wife snores, my neighbors make too much noise, my clothes are terrible, and then the other one has to make a suggestion. And the first time I ask, I want you to use should, and then the next person use ought, and then the next person use should. Okay? So let's do Alice and Inga. If Alex, you could say a problem that Inga can help you with.
Okay. My connection, internet connection, is very bad. Often.
Yeah, that's good.
Sorry.
You should try to change your internet provider.
Okay, very good. Jose and Vincenzo. Can Vincenzo, you say the problem, and Jose, you try to fix it. And Jose, remember what I said. You have to use something different now.
Okay.
My car is always broke down.
My car is always breaks down. I think you should
Breaks
say.
down. Okay.
Always breaks down. Okay. No.
Okay.
You should change your car.
No. Jose, that's an okay suggestion, but remember what I said. We have to alternate. We are doing not just should, but we are doing the other modal verb as well. Every other one. Do you remember what the second one was that you could use instead of should?
Ought to.
No.
Yes, ought to. Ought to. So tell him what you just said again, but using ought. Ought.
Ought. Okay.
So Jose, make the same suggestion in this way.
And repeat the sentence.
Yeah, you repeat the suggestion using ought.
You ought change the car. Your car.
One more time.
You ought change your car.
You ought to change your car. The
To
modal
change your
verb is
car.
ought, but as we just read, it always takes to. So one more time.
You ought to change your car.
Very good. Okay, or you could say you ought not to change your car, or you should not do this. Let's just do one in the past now. Alpha, are you speaking or not? I'm thinking no. Alpha is very mysterious. He comes to a lot of lessons. Great student, never speaks.
Good student.
Good student, but never speaks. Yeah, because he doesn't make any mistakes. That's why. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alice, you just volunteered yourself. Why don't you actually? You're going to make the suggestion now, Sam. If you can say a problem that you had in the past, and then I want Alice to make the suggestion of what you might have done in the past.
Okay. Well, my cat was very angry yesterday. It was just, I can't approach it. It's always biting and scratching me.
Okay. What's the advice, Alice?
You should have given it some sleeping pills.
Okay.
To its food.
In its food. You should have put some sleeping pills in its food.
In its food.
Yes, very good.
But
okay.
not too many.
Yeah,
We don't want to kill it.
You don't want to kill your cat. Okay. And Sam, can you make a suggestion now for the class?
Well, I suggest everyone to mute his microphone while he's not talking.
That's excellent, but can you do it using the modal verb we've just learned?
everyone is owed to contribute in this class, so you can make it active.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, use the modal verb we're learning right now to make the same suggestion about the mute button, but do it using. I don't want to keep repeating the modal verb because I just want to make sure everyone's sort of paying attention. But use it using should. Okay, so make the suggestion using should.
Oh, so we are using should again.
Yeah, we're still using should. Now, instead of advice, we're using it to make a suggestion or a recommendation to someone.
Okay. Everyone should contribute in this class.
Yes, that's true. That's more like advice, though. Everyone should contribute. That is a suggestion, but it's more like a strong suggestion. That's more like the obligation, right? Because it's saying, it's like almost like everyone must, but it's not quite so strong.
Okay, let me suggest.
You gave a good example about muting our microphones, right? Where you left it open in the air. People could decide whether they wanted to do it or not. It wasn't a very strong assertion. Make that suggestion using should.
Okay. Everyone should mute his microphone while he's
No, you're asking a question. So you're making a suggestion in this way, like. So look at the example if you want on the paper, on the document.
Okay. I don't know how to make it a suggestion and question.
Okay. Let's ask. It's okay, no problem. Inga, do you want to have a go?
You should mute your microphone during others speaking.
Yeah, we should mute our microphones. Maybe this is to me more of a suggestion ends in a question mark, right?
I can.
If you say you should do something, that's more like giving advice, which is advice and suggestions are sort of the same thing. But to me, a suggestion sounds like a little bit less strong. So you're saying, should we go to the cinema? That's a suggestion.
Shall we?
No, not shall we. Should we?
Should we?
So should we mute our microphones? Right. That's just a suggestion.
Why not shall we? I learned it should be shall we.
No, shall we means you can do shall we. It's absolutely correct, but we're not in this case. We're learning should.
Okay, all right.
I just wanted him to use should.
Okay.
You can use shall in this case as well. But shall and must are slightly different. So shall and will are slightly different things that we cover in a different lesson. But should is the best one to use, right? So should we mute our microphones? That's the suggestion. Also, we should mute our microphones, the suggestion, but you can already hear that's a bit stronger, isn't it? We should.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, but
which is okay. That's acceptable. That's acceptable. I'm not saying we can't do that. I was just looking for a sort of more light suggestion. But you're right, Inga. You were right. You got the right answer to the question.
No, I mean you said that should we mute our microphones, but here when we put should in the beginning of the sentence, it becomes interrogative. Yeah?
Yes, interrogative. Yes. So that's a suggestion. That's what I mean. A suggestion is quite a vague
suggestion in interrogative.
Yes. Absolutely.
Question.
Yes. Should we do something?
I'm not sure. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. If you say, should we go and see this film, that's a suggestion. You're not asking someone, you're not asking someone, is it definitely going to happen? You're just saying, like, what do you think?
Should we do this or not?
Yes, yeah? Exactly. Should we do this?
Okay.
I like, maybe it's an idea, it's possible. That's like a suggestion.
Yes,
right?
yes, I understand.
It's also a suggestion to say, you should do something, it's just a bit stronger, it's not interrogative, right? Okay, I think we've got this one covered. This is the most common usage probably of should that all of you did a good job on, so I think we know that. So should versus must. Inga, have you read already?
Which? Yes.
Have you read? Yeah, Alice, can you read the next section for us?
Should versus must. For all of the meanings of should above, must can also be used, but only when the wish is to express something more strongly or definitely. Examples: you must cut your hair, it's far too long. Strong obligation. The wait must be over soon. This is intolerable.
Yes, that
Strong
means
probability. It's not
that.
possible to tolerate, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, should can sometimes be used to make conditional statements as well, as we will see below.
Okay. So that's the one thing to know is like must is when you hear the word must, you just think stronger version of should. So if you say we must win the competition this year, whatever that means like we have to sort of thing, rather than just saying we should, which means yeah, it's a good suggestion, but maybe we won't, you know. Or if you say I must reply to all emails, Inga, for example, at work. If you say I should reply, that's still obligation, but must is yeah, it's a weaker form. It's just the sense that you hear it. We should do this. It means you probably won't get fired if you don't. But if you say we must do something, then that's going to be serious if you don't do it. And the same thing with probability. If you say she must have gotten home by now, she must have. That means like I'm really expecting this. I mean, maybe it didn't happen, but I'd be very, very surprised if it didn't happen. If you say she should have gotten home by now, then you won't be as surprised if it didn't happen. Okay? So then you can, whenever you hear must, you can think about should and try and do that exchange. Okay, we're going to go on to would now. We haven't got much left, but we'll try and whiz through it. This is the past form of will. It's another modal auxiliary verb. It's mostly used to talk about hypothetical situations, things that are only imagined to be true. And so you'll most commonly see it in use with the second and third conditional. I'm going to take over the reading now just to make sure we cover everything. Conditional. We use would to express second or third conditionals. These are things that are either possible but not very probable, not very likely, or else things in the past that are impossible to change. That's the third conditional. So I'm not sure if you study conditionals. I've done a couple of classes on them before, but these are the two types of conditionals that we use would for. So if I were you, I would think twice before I stole a packet of crisps. That's like a sweet in English in England, I suppose. So if I were you is a very common construction. We use the subjunctive to say that it's sort of unreal possibility. I cannot be you, but if I were, then I would do X, Y, Z. And then if she hadn't studied, she wouldn't have passed the exam. Okay? If she hadn't studied, she wouldn't have passed the exams. And here again, we have would have and the past participle. I just use this as an example because we're talking about the past. So if we are using would in this way to make conditional statements, we can often also use should for I and we sentences only. For example, if I were you, I would or should not go to the cinema instead of attending class. So you could say, if I were you, I should not go to the cinema. Or we would or we should be grateful if you could send us a new catalog. You can use either one. And this second example shows you that if is not always necessary when you're doing conditionals. This is still conditional. We should be grateful. We should be very grateful if you could send us a new catalog. Okay, it's still a conditional statement because they haven't sent the catalog. We're not sure, but you don't have to say if. It's implied. It's implied in the sentence. Yes, Inga.
Sorry, we have here if. Just I think here we have exchanged the places. If and then.
Oh yes, you're right.
Action.
You're right. I didn't see it. Yeah. Send us a new catalog, and we would be grateful. Okay, so for example, you could say, "Send us your new catalog, and we would be very grateful." Okay, that's a better example. You're right. I missed the fact that the word "if" was already in there.
I think would is more certain than should here, right?
Would we should no? It's not talking about certainty. It's just saying we will be X if something else happens. Okay. So you could use the imperative. You could say, send us the catalog and we would be most grateful. Whatever. You don't always have to use if. If is the most common for conditional statements. But just so you recognize that if you don't see the word if, it doesn't mean that it's not a conditional. There are other examples. I'm not very good at thinking of examples on my feet, but that's one with the imperative. Sometimes the if is just implied. That's what I'm trying to say.
Or
mhm.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Can we change here? We would be grateful for your sending us your new catalog using gerund.
Perfect. We would be. Yes, exactly. For your.
We don't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Ah, it's okay. Now,
Now it's
please?
okay. Mhm.
Please.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I just changed it to your sentencing because it was much better than mine. Okay. We would be very grateful for your sending us the new catalog. Okay. That's conditional because they haven't sent it yet, and it doesn't have the word if. Okay, and so only use should for I and we. This is not an important distinction. It's more something that's just good for you to know about. It's good for you to know. So if you see someone using should and it's conditional, so you're not surprised and you're like, why does someone use that? You can always use would in these cases. So let's do a little bit of. Hold on a second. I'm going to give you a couple of quick sentences that I'm going to want you to finish, if you bear with me 1 second, using the conditional. Okay, if the world was flat is the first sentence. If the world was flat, Sam, finish the sentence for me.
If the world was flat, there wouldn't be day and night.
Excellent. I couldn't have finished that better myself. That was really good. If the world was flat, there wouldn't be day or night. Vincenzo, if animals could speak,
if animal can. Could you repeat, please?
If animals could speak,
we would understand their words.
Yes. If animals could speak, we would understand their words. I don't know.
Or we would understand what they say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We would understand what they were saying.
What they were saying. Okay.
Okay, excellent. If I gave you €1 million, Alice.
I would buy a new house.
Okay. And now I'm going to throw you a little bit. If I stole your bicycle, Inga.
I would give you back after some circle after using it.
Okay, fine. Jose, if I had found your wallet. That's not a great example.
I have.
If I had bought you a nice present. If I had bought you.
But I can't understand.
If I had bought you. Present perfect. If I had bought.
But I don't know what is bought.
Bought, to buy. It's the past tense of to buy. Past participle.
Okay.
If I had bought you a nice present.
You would be my girlfriend.
Possibly, but I'm trying to get you to use the past construction that we just looked at. Remember when I said modal verbs are used in the past? Often there's this very common construction.
See, it's difficult for me.
That's okay. When you use the present perfect, you're talking about an earlier period from another period in the past. It's a whole other class, and we're going to probably study that when I do these past classes for Inga. But just try to use the construction would have, like should have. If I had bought you a nice present. If I had bought you a nice present before it was your birthday, now you have to use that. If I had bought you a nice present before it was your birthday.
You would have made me very happy.
Very excellent. Thank you. Yeah. Do you understand that, Jose? You would have made me very happy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the point in the past is the birthday, but I'm talking about something before that. That's why I use had and past participle. And then you use would have to talk about that as well. You would have made me very happy. Or you can just use would have anyway. You know, I would have exercised a lot more when I was younger if I hadn't spent all my time eating buns or sweets. That doesn't really make sense, but yeah. So would have plus past participle. Okay, good. So hopefully we all understand that usage. I think that was quite natural for some of you, at least for the conditional usage, because you probably already learned the conditional. Now this one's a little bit trickier. We often use would as a kind of past tense of will or going to. This is known as the future in the past, and it's a way of talking about a past action which had not yet happened at the time we were talking about. Okay?
Okay.
So we're talking about a time in the past, like your birthday, Jose, for example, and then we want to say we're describing something that had not happened yet at that time, but it was going to happen in the future. And then we use would. Okay, so here's an example. He would go on. I'm talking about Leonardo da Vinci, for example. After this, this, and this, he would go on to become one of the best painters of the Renaissance. Okay? You could say, or he went on to become, but right now we're learning would. Okay? We also use would to talk about typical past behavior, things that we were in the habit of doing or things that we used to do. So my mother would always read me a story at bedtime, even if I had misbehaved. Or he would always pass her house and wonder whether she was inside. So this is when we talk about habits in the past or typical behavior. Okay, so that's a bit different from the future in the past. Do we understand this idea of the future in the past? We're already talking about a time in the past, and we want to talk about the future with reference to this time. Okay, so Leonardo da Vinci was born in, whenever he was born, 1500 something. He went to this school, that school, that school. He would go on to become, this is the future, but it's still the past. Right, so we have this point and then the future, but it's all in the past. Okay, maybe some more examples would help to talk about that. So we're going to do, so let me ask Vincenzo, can you talk to me about a historical event that's important in your country and then tell me how it finished using would? This is a little bit more advanced, this usage, but...
Yes, yes.
Italy's got a lot of history, so just pick anything. And then say this would or these would, talking about the future, but still within the past.
Okay. It's a little bit difficult for me.
So think of a historical, anything in history that happened in Italy.
Okay. I want to talk about the Freedom Day. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. If we would get the freedom.
It's easier if you talk about the event to begin with, right? So say something that happened in the past about Freedom Day. Freedom Day began to be celebrated in what year? What do you know about Freedom Day?
It was in 1947.
Okay, so you could say Freedom Day began in 1947 to be celebrated. It would go on to become one of the most important national holidays in Italy. Okay?
Could you repeat? Sorry, Jack.
Freedom Day was first celebrated in 1947. It would go on. It would eventually, you could say, it would eventually become one of the most important holidays in Italy. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
Excellent. Okay. Does anyone else? Does anyone not is struggling? Inga, can you give me an example? You said wow. Is that what's that for?
It's about sound coming from Vincenzo's microphone.
Oh, I see the sound. Yeah. That's okay. No problem, Alice. Do you want to try this one example?
Yes. I want to go back. For example, in 1990. Armenia would go on to become an independent country.
Fantastic. That's absolutely right. Yeah, very, very good. Armenia would go on. Go on means to, it's a very strange construction, actually. Or you could just say Armenia would become an independent country in 1924. So we're still talking about the past, but we're talking about the future in the past. Okay? So this is not a very common usage. This is an advanced level usage of would. So don't worry too much about it. But if you hear people using would in this way, then that's what it means. Okay? And then, yeah.
Sorry, about the second usage of would. My mother would always, can we use here used to?
Yes. This is, would is like a substitute for used to.
Okay. Yes.
So whenever you think used to, you can change would. And if someone says would, then you can use it. I was going to ask Alice, but she ran away. Sam, can you give an example of typical behavior or habits in the past using would? Quickly if you can, because we've only got a couple of minutes.
Okay. If I had an accident yesterday, I would have been in hospital by now.
No. That's just conditional, remember, because you used if. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about typical behavior, something that happened a lot in the past to you, something that you did. Look at the examples. My mother would always read me a story at bedtime, or even if I had misbehaved, or he would always pass her house and wonder whether she was inside.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know. I would have always been.
No, because you can't really use would have here. I don't think you can. It's correct to use would have in this scenario. You're just talking about, because you're already talking about the past. So if you use would have, then that's like a double past, and it doesn't make sense. Look at the two examples and maybe just try and substitute some of the words. You're talking about typical behavior, things that would happen often in the past.
Okay. My friend would always help me, even if I was not good to him.
Very good. Yeah, perfect. My friend would always help me. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
It means she used to help me. It means she had the habit of helping me regularly. It wasn't just one time. Happened many times in the past. You can say used to, as Inga says, or you can say would. She would always help me in the past. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. And we have one more now. We use would to make polite requests. In this sense, it can be used in the same way as could. So could you please open the window? Jose, can you make a polite request to me? Jose? Oh, it's frustrating when we lose people.
My microphone.
Yeah.
Could you speak slowly, please?
No. Is that the polite request?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect, but you used the wrong word.
The wrong? Would.
Yeah, would. Would you speak slowly, please? You can say could, but right now we're learning to do it with would as well. Would or could you speak slowly? Would you please pass me the thing? And again, if you think about the mood, it's all it's stuff that hasn't happened yet, right? It's hypothetical. Would you pass me? I don't know if you're going to. Maybe you will. So that's why you can kind of use these interchangeably in this case, would or could. Okay, and very lastly, desire, opinion, hope, or uncertainty, hypotheticals. Overall, we must remember that it is used to describe hypothetical situations, and knowing when it is correct or incorrect to use it will come with practice. Here are some more examples. I would like or would love to have a piece of chocolate. Note that would like and the infinitive expressing a hope or desire. So you can always say I would like. Again, it's like a conditional. I would like it. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. It's not definite. It's not exactly a conditional, but it's hypothetical. This is a good word, hypothetical. It means not real. It hasn't happened yet. Do you think the shops will be closed now? I would think so. That's an opinion. I would think so. Or it would appear that I was wrong. Uncertainty. It would appear that I was wrong. So this is like a sort of group, like little bubbles, if you will, of other areas that you can use it in. And this is the type of area, the type of usage that's only really going to come with practice. I mean, if you know all of those three examples, like opinion, uncertainty, and desire, and that kind of thing, then, and you know everything else that we just covered, then you've got 90% of the usage of the word would. Okay. But now, if anyone uses it, you can think, what are they trying to say? And you can look back at this document and try and figure it out from going through the document. Okay. Unfortunately, I have to end the lesson there. We've run a couple of minutes over. I'm sorry we were a little bit rushed towards the end. Thank you all for coming. If you have any questions, please send them to me. I think that's. I'm still deciding whether I'll do another one or not next week. But if not, I will be. In terms of grammar classes, I'll be coming on to cover the past tense, a few different past tenses, and then the passive voice, because I always ask students for suggestions of what they want to learn, and Inga made this suggestion. I think it's very good, and I haven't done any lessons on these topics yet. But anyway, thank you for coming. I will see you all. I have another lesson right now, but it's more like a conversation lesson about transportation. I have some more tomorrow, and then I'll see you when I see you.
Thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.